Hey everyone, we are live again. I'm super happy to see y'all. I can't see y'all, but I can. So y'all make sure y'all put some hearts in the comments. Let me know you're here. I have another guest live, and we've been going really strong this week, y'all. I mean, I think it's been one of the most amazing weeks. We started out the new year with such great intention. We had some amazing events to end the last year that we didn't even know we were going to have. One of the main events that we did have that our leader Tamisha put on in the W.I.N ATL hub, okay, was a it was like an Empower Her networking vision party. And I was like really amazed at how quickly she put that together. Like she literally came on board and was like, oh, I know what I want to do. I got it together. And yeah, just don't worry about me. And I was like, okay, being the control freak that I am, I'm like, okay. But as women in networking and also empowered women, we tend to want to have other strong individuals around us that can really hold into their own craft and their expertise. And so when Tamisha came on, she brought some powerful leaders to the forefront. One of those leaders is Christi Farmer. Christi was I knew of Christi because of the podcast. So I told her, I was like, I saw you on the podcast. I said, but this is a different vibe. I was like seeing you in person, getting to meet you. And she set up an amazing platform for us and I still have my list, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. I'll show y'all what came out of it, but I want Christy to introduce herself first so she can show you all or tell you all who she is, and then we'll start the conversation. If you're on LinkedIn and YouTube, I believe, well, LinkedIn mainly, you can share this. And so share it to your page, let people know we're here so they can watch as well. And if you're in Facebook, of course, in the group, give us some hearts. Let us know you're listening. But Christy, let us know about you. Who are you?
Well, about me. So at the heart of everything, I'm an educator. I have went to school for a master's degree in early childhood education. I worked my way up through that. I was like on track to be a superintendent. And then in times much like now, where the prices of everything was going up but my paycheck, I was like, I need something to fit between this more month and money. And I feel like I had done the American dream. You grow up, you go to college, you get the degree, like it's supposed to equal like paid bills paid, vacation once a year. And it wasn't equaling up to that. So I went to I literally Googled ways to make an extra $1,000 a month because I was already doing the after school tutoring thing. I was already leading an after school tutoring thing. And then I became a full-time business owner. I've always been a hustler. The term of hustling, like I was the kid in elementary school who had a lemonade stand and was making money in a lemonade stand. And I was even strategic back then because we lived in apartments or townhomes and everybody's mailbox was in one row. So you drove into the neighborhood, you stop at your mailbox, and then you go to your townhome. And so I set mine up at 5 p.m. right by the mailboxes because what is everybody doing at 5 o'clock but coming home from work and checking their mail? And so who's the cute little kid at the end of the row? Me with lemonade. So I've always been that person. I didn't realize what that was until I got older and was like, I've always been strategic and I've always known how to go get money and not have to and not wanting to ask. I didn't want to ask my parents for money back then because I didn't want them telling me what I could and couldn't do in elementary school with my money. And so I made Kool-Aid, out of what I had at the house. So that's the younger me who's grown up to the older me. And now I'm a full-time business owner. My business outdid my assistant principal pay, and I told them they could have their job back. And it really was personal, making more money, but it was also, I realized I could touch more lives outside the schoolhouse than I could in the schoolhouse. And I realized that if I touched the mothers who touched the kids, I'd have a bigger impact than trying to touch the kids and trying to get to the parents because the kids come to me how they are, and parents are pretty much like, do what you can with what I've done at home. And anything that we can't do is not our fault. It's like, and it's not their fault. It's they put it on us. Well, y'all the educators make it happen. So that's where I am now. I'm a full-time business owner and I touch women and their families. And I feel like if you can change the mindset of a mother, then that touches the man in the household, that touches the kids in the household, like that touches generations to come. So that's pretty much where I am right now in my life.
That was really, I'm actually typing that in. Um, because what
I need
happens
to
when
go
you
back and
change?
see how long that took, because it's not the 30-second elevator speech we're taught to do.
It's okay. We don't listen. We have places for that. Don't get it. We definitely want to make sure we are practicing good business etiquette too. But this is a real conversation because we know that in our community we can do business all day, but there's so many avenues to us as women in business because we have to. First of all, I said we are probably the best business owners ever because we're already managing that in our everyday lives with our husbands and our families. And if you're a mom, you know this, right? You're
Right.
managing people all the time. But I think what you highlighted was that there was an innate thing inside of you from a very early age that made you want to help and support people because you were already like, okay, well, when do people come home? That's when I want to be there. And sometimes that's as simple as it is. Like, even when I think about like business now, I'm like, y'all, like, it's just that simple.
It's just
But
that simple.
we tend to overcomplicate. And, when people tell you things, and I'm going to ask you some questions too, because I'm so curious. This is also me getting to know Christi too, y'all, because you know how we do. We want to make sure we're always getting to know people and building those relationships, as we say in our community. That's what's going to get you to, understanding who you need to really be in partnership with, how to build your trust with people. Because some of us come in here with trust issues and we stay with trust issues, and I'm like, no, 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 you can't have that. You can't have that. So you started out with this mindset of an entrepreneur, which I actually did a workshop called the Lemonade Stand because of that intention. Because kids that are fearless that do that, they're already working a whole marketing system and don't even know it.
Right.
When you got to the point of wanting to start the business, because I heard you, I don't know if y'all heard her say it, but she was like, when my pay to help people in the world outsize the pay that my job was trying to give me, right? Like, she was like, y'all can have that back. And I was just talking to somebody about that today. I said, I'm the one that I'm like, oh, this job don't fit me no more. So I'm gonna have to go, and I'm looking for the next one. But sometimes we get stuck in that. And this is exactly what this person was telling me. I hope she's listening to. I don't know if she's on, but I was like, it kind of gripped my heart a little bit, Christi, because I was like, you really feel stuck. Like, you really feel like you have no option. And so, have you ever felt like that in your journey? Like, especially being an assistant principal, working with kids and families, and wanting to having that heart to like want to help people like that. What did you have
I
challenges like that? Like leaving?
I've never had a point in my life where I felt, at least if I did, I don't remember it. When I think about my education career, no. Because I've always had that mindset that I'm very competitive. So when I saw people in a position that I was doing, or in a position that was above me. So I'll say, for example, assistant principal. Like, I didn't go into education saying I was going to be an assistant principal, but when I was under an assistant principal and I was like, they hired her for this, I can do that. So I literally was like, let me go get it. So I found out the steps needed to go get it, and I went and got it. And when I say went and got it, like, I've been in Facebook groups, and I've been in, conversations where people are like, well, only if you know somebody who knows somebody can you get this position. And I didn't know anybody. Like, I literally taught overseas, came back to the United States, was particular and confident about my ability. So I applied to different schools, but I interviewed who was my principal, who was going to be my principal, as much as they interviewed me. So when they asked me questions, I asked them questions. So like, my questions to my prospective principal was like, well, how long have you been here? What are your career goals? Because if you're under a principal who wants to be in that school forever, then they operate like that. But if you're under a principal whose goal is to be in the superintendent's office, then they do specific things to make their school be seen. And then if you want to be under them and want to move up too, then you need to help them with their goal. So I've always understood that. And so I've never felt stuck. Like, when I was ready to be a coach, because I went from being a classroom teacher to being, I would pull out kids. I was a EIP teacher. So I was pulling out and working with specific groups of kids. And then I was a coach of teachers. And then I was an assistant principal. But I basically fast tracked myself. I looked And like I right now, if there's anything I wanted, I would go to LinkedIn and I would look at who has the position I want. I look at their career path and I'd say, oh, I haven't done that, but I have something equivalent to it. Or, oh, I probably need to get this certification because everybody who I looked at who has the position that I want has this certification. And I just go get it. I make myself so appealable that it's like if you don't hire me, it's just because you don't want to. It's not because I haven't shown myself, what's the word? Show myself true or qualified for this position. So no, I really can't think of a time for a job that I felt, or if I did feel stuck, I didn't feel like I didn't have control over getting myself out of being stuck.
Okay, hold on. It's a little delay for me.
Yeah, it's a lag.
So listen, I got to comment on that so hard because everything you said was so good. Y'all, if y'all not like taking this in a real way, because what you said was like food to me and my soul. Sometimes, and this is exactly what I heard. She was like, I'm just stuck. Like, I'm just stuck. And I said the same exact thing. I said, that's weird to me. My boyfriend says I should have a t-shirt that said that's weird because I say it a lot, because a lot of times it really is something foreign. Like I never experienced it. Right. So it's good to be like-minded with that. But for those who are like really in that place, I think that there's another component to that. Confidence is key. Can I put this up here real quick? Because I was about to say this exact same thing. Tamisha said it already. She's already said something ahead. And Tamisha is actually the reason why, we're here today. Because, she brought you to the Women into Networking community and you sponsored our event by bringing forth y'all don't even know. Like it was an amazing event. That Tamisha got us food and mimosas, and then she brought a photographer in, and then she brought a presenter who Christi came and did this entire presentation with music. Lo-fi. Was it lo-fi?
Well, I don't know what lo-fi is.
Oh, okay. So lo-fi music, y'all, is like that real low key. Like I'll play it for y'all before we get over this live, but it's very calming. And Christi had that, after we presented ourselves and networked a little bit, Christi did this thing where she said, list down all of your life goals in the next 10 years. And, we just kind of had an amazing discovery about ourselves. And then we were able to make a vision board behind it. And I thought it was so effective because I never did that much work before I made the vision board. I usually just say, okay, I know what I want and I'm just going to make the vision board. But this really made me think about what I need to be working on actively, right, to really get to that vision. And I was able to do it with other WIN members who were there. And y'all don't even know, like when we were in the room, I don't know if anybody else felt it, but there was like a silence, and it was like a thick silence of like, we are really in tune with this thing. And it felt really good too, to
More
be able
than
to
just a board. That's the goal. Is that it's more than just this board. It's a next level. Actually thinking about what you really want. If people do vision boards and they just go through magazine. It's like, oh yeah, I want to be skinny. That bathing suit looks good on her. Or oh yeah, I really do want to eat better. Let me cut that picture out. And oh yeah, I really want to do this. And then the year's over and it's like, yep, no closer to that than when I opened up the magazine. And so that's why I do the method that I do, which comes from some reading that I've done. And it really, like you're explaining, makes you think way past that moment, or way past the magazine, or way past, like really, what do you want from life? And then putting it onto the board. And then I like doing it digitally because you're not put into a box of what's just available in magazines. Like you can use an app like Canva that has literally anything you could thought of in that time period, has a picture for it.
Wait, did you see how intense we were on our phones and our laptops using Canva?
I loved it. And that's the goal. That's the goal.
So I'm just, I'm laughing, and Holly popped in. Hey, Holly. She says she's working on gaining some confidence. This is why I feel so empowered when we have these conversations and we do, different workshops, as we say, just to really give an understanding of behind the scenes of how we are and confident in ourselves as women, because we empower each other. When you feel like, when I see my sis, like when I see another woman and she's like walking in her confidence, telling me why she's confident, how she became confident, that's empowering to me. And one thing that I was just kind of highlighting before Tamisha said it, I said, Christy, you seem like you've been confident your whole entire life. And I'm just thinking, like, that's got to be intimidating. Like, for some people, it does, because I have people come to me all the time and they're like, Allegra, you got to be da-da-da. I'm like, oh no, like there's so many things that I'm not good at. And I'm just hearing you as a powerful woman in your own self just kind of talk about all these accomplishments and things that really put you at the forefront of your career. I agree with you that if you don't have the opportunity, make it, right? Walk through the door, show up where people don't expect you to. And also, when you were talking about people saying in different spaces, oh, I'm basically looking for an opportunity, just tell me where I should go or send me a resource. Listen, I remember walking into somebody's job, y'all, with a red party dress that I had on from it wasn't like it wasn't like one of those regular party dresses, like going to the club party dress, y'all. So I'm like, well, I'm going out later, so I'm just going to go ahead and wear this dress, and I'm going to go to this interview because I'm being transparent. This was not a regular, like, let me show up professionally type, get this job. I had my business. I was very confident in what I was doing, but it was something, it was like, I just want to work a job for a little bit and maybe that'll give me some resources. And so I think what it was, my ex, he dared me. So that's what it was. He dared me. And I was like, oh, well, it's just a job. Like, you can get a job, right? And this is why I think this is a mindset and a way. And I want to ask you about this, Christy, because when I walked into that job, I thought I wasn't going to get that job because I was like, they're going to be like, this girl is ridiculous. Like, why was she coming here looking like this and talking like this? And, and I didn't care because I was interviewing them too. Like Christy said, I was like, well, what do you want to do? And how do y'all pay? Right. And where do y'all morals stand? And by the end of the interview, they were like, so are you starting today? Exactly. And I was like, wait, no, I didn't even know I was going to get this job. Like, let me think about it. So
somebody said, oh, I'm sorry.
So sometimes you don't have to, because I wasn't always confident. I'm not always confident in myself all the time, but I want to talk about that confidence and that boldness. Is there any time where you do feel like there's a lack of confidence, where you have to like boost yourself up?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there was a time in my life period where it really came from your circle. I was on a daily basis partnered with someone who did pretty much everything possible to tear me down on a regular basis. It was like part of their MO to make me second guess who I was and what I was capable of. Now, I grew up, and I give all credit to my parents, I grew up with being told that you can do anything you want to do. Like, go after it. It's yours. You're smart. You're intelligent, so on and so forth, till I was blue in the face. So I had a good foundation. And then I got to a point in my life where I connected with someone who in the beginning made me think that they were there to support me, but after a while was just literally taking time to chip away at the block for a while. And so it took some time to get past that and not second guess myself anymore. And part of what helped with that, honestly, was I took pretty much every known personality test, like real, not the Facebook ones, but a Myers-Briggs, a DICE, and taking those kind of tests. And when they all came back saying the same things around me, that was my confidence booster. Because it's like, I believe, it's like backed up what I already believed about myself, but now it's solidified that this is who I am. And so I walk in that confidently now. And when people come to me and say, well, you're not this, because that's what, he used to do, is say, well, you're not this or you're not that. And I'd be like, you think so? Well, now if anybody says you're not this or you're not that, I'm like, yeah, no, I know I am. And so I'm just like, maybe you can't see it and that's okay, but I know that this is what I'm great at. I've worked hard at this. I've built this. I even put certifications behind it, even though it wasn't necessary. Like, this is who I am, and this is where I operate best. Now, with that, also, I also am very clear about what my weaknesses are. And so I come across to other people as being great at things that I'm not, because I keep people around me who make up for my weaknesses. It's when I use the example of like Barack Obama, like, we might have the impression that he was, a great president or was amazing in so many things. What I think causes him to have that impression is he was really good at keeping great people around him. So in even areas that he was weak in, we would never know, because he had people around him who would make up for that. And so that's what I've done. And one thing somebody said to me recently, if I could give them credit for it, I would. I don't know who said it, but they said that there's no difference between faith and fear, because faith is having confidence in something you can't see, and fear is also having confidence in something you can't see. So, for example, we might be scared of snakes, but have never been bit by a snake. We've never actually had we're just scared of what we think may happen. That's where fear comes from. Scared of something that you think may happen. Like, I'm fearful of approaching someone about selling this because I think they might turn me down. But the same is true with faith. The idea in faith is that you're going after it because you believe, if God is who you believe in, you believe is he's going to carry you through that. You believe that so it's really a matter of your belief, whatever you believe is on the other side of the faith or the fear.
Can I just say, my entire mind is like trying to find itself right now. Like, it really is, because what you said something really powerful, and I just had to, like, because I was, how we try to find something negative and everything, like, we like, wait a minute, something got to be wrong in there. I was like, my mind quickly was like, shoot, wait a minute, that makes sense, because it does. I think that, oh God, so thank you for sharing, because I think sometimes we feel like we don't have to do that work. And one of the things that I think is so amazing about powerful women in power, especially nowadays where we're in this economy where we're getting out of a lot of these bad relationships. Like, I noticed that the pandemic kind of highlighted that. I got out of a bad relationship, and I don't mean like bad, like you're bad or they're bad, because two people play a part in these things, right? Exactly. But it's like, sometimes we as women, because of, our makeup and our nurturing, we do tend to give ourselves away in relationships, right? And if we don't give them away to the right people, then we'll end up like, I remember telling my mom out of my last relationship, I was like, I'm still together. They didn't take anything, you know what I'm saying? Because I had to identify that, I didn't lose my worth. Like, your worth is really, you have to identify that and honor that. But people can chip away at your self-esteem, and you start losing value, and you're just like, dang, like, I don't feel myself anymore. And so I think when you talk about confidence, I think it was so wise to just bring up the fact that you can't always do it yourself. You got to have people around you that can really build you up. Barack Obama, shout out to the president. Okay? Shout out to our former president. Okay. When we have this idea and identity behind knowing who reflects our greatness but great at different things, that's what I'm practicing. I'm really trying to get good at that, because some of my control issues will get in the way, and I'll be like, no, I want to do it, right? But there are, to your point, like, people that build your confidence because they're so good at it that it makes you look good. If you just release that control. What you laughing at, Tamisha? Tamisha back here, I'm just like, listen, I am sold for the gold. All right. I want to be a part of that team. But I really want to continue with just talking to Christi about this. If y'all haven't found out what Christi does, Christi is definitely out here changing lives of women everywhere. We didn't even dig into how many women you have changed lives of. We talked about, her past experience and getting over, different humps and challenges, right? In a very mindful way. Now you're in a space where you've changed so many other lives as well. Now, what was that like for you? Because you went from the assistant principal to now you're out here like running the streets and taking over the world. Like, did that have anything, like, what did that look like? Just kind of go, just tell us.
I will say this, that it happened at the time that it needed to happen. Tamisha's put my numbers out. Okay, so I will say that I am not the biggest person, like my biggest cheerleader, in that I don't put my numbers out there. Like, we'd probably go through this whole thing and people be like, so what's she so great at, and who she touched? So that's one thing I have done, not even purposely, but I think people around me realize my gifts. And like when we're out in public, Tamisha will probably be like, girl, let me tell you what she does. And I have another girlfriend who's Yolanda who does the same thing. She was like, do you know who you're talking to? And I just sit and I'm just like, yes, it's all true. So I have been in my business for 11 years, 5 years full time, and I have grown a community of over 145,000 women across all 50. It's not in a million yet. Across all 50 states, including Puerto Rico.
At a million plus. Don't forget the plus.
Puerto Rico and Guam. And so what I do is I sell fashion accessories, so jewelry accessories, and I've shared it with women of how it's changed my life. And really, like, my goal, I said at the beginning, was to make an extra $1,000 a month, and the business did that for me. And one of the things that's part of my makeup about who I am is when I'm winning, I want to tell as many people about it so they can win too. And that's really how I got started in the beginning. It was like, I hadn't even made 1,000 yet. And I was like, wait a minute. So I can just share this and make $50, which this was 11 years ago, which is why I say it's like now, because $50 for a lot of people right now, a week, an extra 50 would really help them out right now. Because the way that prices is everything. I mean, I went to the grocery store today because I just got over being cold. Now I'm nursing my husband being cold. I have a 3-year-old Tyler who's taking a nap right now. And so I went to the store and bought oranges, like stuff we need, because we try to do the healthy route. Like, I make her a cough syrup out of oranges and honey, and I microwave the orange and, do the whole honey mix or whatever. And it's expensive. Like, I think it was $100, and my cart was like, there was nothing in it. So when I found that I could do that 11 years ago, like, go to my job where teachers are at and leave with $50 cash in my pocket, I was like, I gotta tell people about this, because I know fellow teachers, I know fellow people who are working, who went to work and didn't have gas to get home, and now they can make $50 while they're at their job, fill up their gas tank, and go home. And so that's really what the business, and it became a process. So it was duplicatable. I was telling other people, and they were telling other people, and they were telling other people, and it became a brand. So right now, my team makes up a fourth of the entire company. And it's a blessing. And I've branched out. I've been doing that 5 years full time. And since then Tamisha says she's counting customers. True. If you count customers. So those are just business partners. So if you count customers, then yeah.
You said you are being modest.
I am. But people, I found that, so like if I just say how many have directly started business with me, less than 200.
Okay, wait. So you're telling me that these numbers right here is a reflection of you starting out with just this concept to say, I made an extra $1,000. Even $50 extra will help somebody. Let me tell some other people, right? And this is the thing, because sometimes we got to get into this motion. I want to talk to women and the men who support us, because we get very enthralled in like the shiny object syndrome of like, oh, we got to have this, we got to have that to make $1,000. Like, $1,000 to some people is a lot of money. Because I know people right now, like I was talking to them about their jobs or whatever, because, people in transition to business, and I'm like, how much are you making? They're like, about $2,000 a month. I'm like, that's it. So you really have to think about it. Like, extra $1,000, that's another extra $1,000. Most of the time, people don't even make that at their jobs.
Yes. So the difference between somebody during a time when everybody was losing their homes 11 years ago, when we had that fallout of the housing market because people were foreclosing their homes, the difference between somebody losing their home and keeping their home was between $500 and an extra $1,000 a month. So although I've made multi six figures, I don't go around telling people like, "Oh, you can make multi six figures too," because the
Yeah.
average person doesn't need multi six figures to be okay right now. The average person needs an extra $500 to $1,000 a month to feel like I can sleep better at night because all my bills gonna be paid. And so
That
that's what
is
I talk about.
that's big. Okay. Whoa. Whoa. Because if I go back to the feeling you had back in that time, I'm sure there was some tears going around, and people just being able to say, I did it and I was able to make this extra money. Now that was in a time too, and I want to bring this back to how powerful women are. And we're talking about Christi, who, like, I just met Christi last year through Tamisha at our networking event. So we talk about the power of networking. Now I get to know, like, more deeper inside of her business, and just to come to find out, her what she did in her business catapulted someone else's business, just because they had you on their team, or they had you as an asset to the company. Now that's big, because sometimes we think because we're joining some company, or we do an affiliate, or if we join an MLM, we get caught up in, like, okay, well, I'm kind of stuck with just doing whatever they do. But you took it a step further, which I think is really what we all kind of strive to want to do, is to take
Mhm.
someone's products, or to take something and to put it in the market and change a life, or to see the impact of what we want to see, which
Right.
is someone, like you said, if we can change the mindset of a mother, then we can change the mindset of a family.
Which is what I've learned over the years. It is less about teaching the women who join me how to do sales, but more about teaching women their mindset and confidence. And that's literally, I spend more time in trainings, teaching about mindset and confidence, and using more I can statements instead of I can't. There's so many women that come to me, I can't do this, I can't do this. And then 3 months, and some people's processes are longer than that. Some women have been with me for 8 years. And now they're waking up and they was like, I'm so glad I didn't quit, because I would not have been this woman if I hadn't stayed through this process. Yes, 8 years.
8 years.
But and what I tell people is, if you say, let's say you come with me at age 30, that is literally 30 years of mindset and thought process and I can't statements you've been telling your years that we're not going to fix in 30 days.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that what most people miss is that they don't stick around for the transformation. Like that same woman who's 8 years later, if she had stopped and been like, I can't do this ain't for me, at year 2, she'd never gotten to this point at year 8 where she has a whole team now that, and when she comes to me and says, oh, these, and I'm like, oh, these what? People who were like you when you started? Like, let's not forget from whence we came from, which is, me too. Like, I can't forget like what life taught me that got me here. You know what I mean? Or, why has God brought this person into my life at this time? It's because I can say, like, I've been there. I've been where I didn't know we were going to, like, where, because I can't say that we never had, like, I don't have the story where we went without water, where the electricity was. I've always made enough to pay my bills, but I never had enough to do more. And I just didn't think that
Mm-hmm.
was fair. I didn't think I should have a master's degree and not be able to go downtown
Right.
Atlanta with my girlfriends on a weekend, because the gas money that I had, or the gas in my car, had to last me all week for work. I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
downtown gas money. So it was never a thing where, which was enough for me. Like, I don't have to feel like that was a struggle for me. For me not to be able, for me to go to college, finish a bachelor's and a master's degree, and not be able to go hang out. Like, what did I go to school for? That's what I felt like. Like, I thought this was the purpose. You go, you get a good job, and you should be able to go hang out with your girlfriends on the weekend. And that was stressful for me to not be able to do that. Not the fact that I could pay my bills. Like, I'm grateful, but I should also be able to at least treat myself for the hard work I do every day.
Mhm. Yeah. I think that is so powerful. I mean, I think we all kind of resonate with that. Nobody wants to be stuck with just living their life to work and pay bills. And, Holly said it in the comments that, she'd be perfectly fine making $1,000 a month. And, when you love what you do, it's like, that's what I think it comes out for me. Like you making money, but you love it. Like you really enjoy doing that thing. And business itself, like you can make it a business, or you can, some people like doing it on the side, like you said, and just making the extra money. When you talk about the change agent, someone who is wanting to change behavior to make that multi six figures and all those things we say, because I heard it on Clubhouse a lot, 6 figures in 6 days. I was like, okay. But when you have people that are like, I really want to be this person, I really want to change so that I can, live this lifestyle of freedom, which could mean freedom to go on vacation whenever you want, freedom to have downtown gas money, like you said, like freedom to do whatever. And having that for some people is enough, right? And so I just want to emphasize this too, because you went through that process, and a lot of people are there right now. Like they're like, I really just want to get out of this cycle of like being frustrated and having to always. And to me, it seems like you constantly had a way to correct your mindset. Like when it came down to all of the things that you were talking about. So if you ever have like, someone that's like, really struggling, like affiliate marketing, for example, outside of working with you, say they're just trying to do something on their own. A lot of times they find that they struggle on their own, right? Because they're constantly trying to go in rotation on the same mindset that they've had their entire life. So when you said the young lady was with you for 8 years, did you think in the beginning of you working with her that she was going to be there? Or not that she was going to be there, but that you were going to be there.
I was
That
gonna
did you?
say I didn't know I was gonna be there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of times when we do things, I think that we have to realize, and this is just from my observation and my own experience. Like I didn't know where I was going to be, these years before, but starting off, you had this one intention to just help people. How did that happen? Where over time you either built that into a business, or did it just, was there a need that was so vital that you were just like, I have to make this? Like, what made you come this far? Like, what did that look like?
Well, I'll be honest. When I first started, it wasn't about other people. Like I literally started this because I Googled ways to make an extra $1,000 a month, and I found this company on a stay at home mom's website, and it was a market thing for me. Meaning, because like what I sell is jewelry, but you know, do I would somebody say like, oh, I just knew she would get something like this? No, I wasn't even doing prayer. Like I put on jewelry on Friday night when it was time to go out with the girlfriends, or on Saturday. But I was an elementary teacher. I didn't wake up every morning trying to match jewelry up with my clothes. I was trying to wear the most comfortable thing ever because I'm going to be on the floor with 7-year-olds. Like that's what my life was. But I did recognize that there was a market for it, and I won't even say it was a market. I thought to myself, just thinking friends and family, would my friends and family buy this? And I was like, oh yeah, the price is good. It's at a price point that my friends and family would buy. And then what the affiliate marketing direct sales taught me is that you go from there. So your friends and family like it, great. And you have them invite their friends and family because their friends and family will like it. And that's outside of your circle, because my friend's friend isn't necessarily my friend. And then once they like it, then I ask them, well, since you like it, invite your friends. And so your circle goes. And the one thing you will learn is how small the world really is. Because as you start getting, further, and friends of friends and family of family of family, you're like, oh yeah, I know such and such. Oh yeah, you know that's. Oh yeah. So the world really is small, and social media will teach you that. But that's also a thing about knowing who you are. Is I know that I'm a person that takes things from good to great. I'm not a original creator person. So to take a business like just see a problem and just create a solution from scratch, that's not my MO. That's just not my personality type. It's just not. Like, people have tried to push me there, and I've tried to push myself there, and it just never works out because it's just not who I am. And I could spend the next 20 years trying to make myself that, and it's just not it. But what I am great at is taking anything and making it better. So if you came to me and was like, I have this great idea and I've started here, and you like find a place where you're stuck at, I'm like, oh, great. You know how you can make this better? Do this, 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 and that. Which is why direct sales and multi-level marketing or all the other names they call it, but a pyramid scheme works for me because I can take a concept and be like, oh, we can make this bigger. We can make this greater. We can make this, whatever. Doing a podcast with Tamisha. Now, because I've done and been successful, I'm a residential solar broker. So like the solar panels that people get on their homes to stop using full electricity or being a part of the grid. That's my business that I've started now. And I know how to take it from being good to great. So I'm super excited about growing that. And we're in 19 out of 50 states right now. And so it's just as long as I believe in it, and it does have to have a component that helps people because I like helping people. So if it's something like there's been plenty, there's lotions and there's deodorants, and I just can't get, that's just not my thing. I don't down it. But you have to have, at the end of the day, my thing to people would be, you have to have something that you believe in. Like it has to be something you believe in. And you have to be surrounded by the right kind of people. And what direct sales has allowed me to do is to be closer when I wasn't a six-figure earner, being closer to six-figure earners without having to necessarily pay to be around six-figure earners. And now that I'm a six-figure earner, like I'm in chats with seven-figure earners who talk to me like we BFFs, right? Instead of having to pay to be in that room per se. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you pay to start the business, but this isn't it like I don't have to pay $5,000 to now ask her a question about what to do about investments. Like she randomly every day just sends us like, hey, this is the write-off you should. I have an Audi Q7, not because I just love Audi Q7s out of everything in the world, but I know that an Audi Q7 fits the 6,000 pound rule. So I can write this entire vehicle purchase off for my taxes under my business. So when people are like, how can she afford, or why would she spend? Because she didn't buy this.
Break that thing off, guys.
She's business bought this. So every time I put $2,000 worth of tires on this truck, that's a business write-off. That doesn't even come out of my personal money, right? So that's taxes that I don't have to pay because it's a write-off. So all those things that I can't claim I would know by just being in a room with people who make six figures or less. I claim I know these things because I'm sitting in rooms with people who make seven figures. And that's where I feel confidence comes from, is being able to be in rooms with people who know more, live more, have more experiences than you. And then now I get to share that information with people because now this is what social media gives us. It gives us the ability to be in rooms we've never been in before.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like this is the room. Like you listen to this, you're in the room.
I'm telling you, like you said so many things. And I know we got to end this interview, but y'all, you gotta watch these lives. Okay. Just go through the live, listen to the stories. I wanted to present Christi because she came to the forefront of our networking event and she just showed off. I was like, who is this lady? Like I knew you from the podcast, right? So I got to know that part, but then really seeing what you do and then hearing you even more. There's layers to this, y'all. That's why I say you got to like keep being in tune with what's going on with women into networking, because as I'm finding out more about you, I'm like, wait a minute. So you have the solar panel business? Like, I know that's a whole nother thing that's been, because a couple of my clients got their installations this past year. So I'm like, oh, they rocking and rolling on the solar. And then not to mention though, I'm this type of person where I feel very aligned with you, Christi, because and a lot of times we as powerful women have to do that. We have to find people that have that same type of energy, because for the most part, a lot of us are really just trying to figure out what we want to do in life. And that can be very catapulting, like just like, oh my gosh, like now I feel like I'm just like down in the dumps again. But you also be around people that, like you say, iron sharpens iron. So I love your energy. When you're talking about being in this space where you're opening up businesses, this is what I tell y'all too. Like, do your due diligence, like do your research, get in rooms like what Christi's talking about. I think it's fabulous because you're giving off the real life example of exactly what we're talking about. Like, if you can put yourself in a position, whether, it's through someone else's company or through your company, opportunities to go out and network and conferences and events, get in rooms with people are going to be able to open doors for you, that have the resources available, because having those seven-figure earners around you and to say something as simple as make sure you write that off, that's big. A lot of us are running down here with all these expenses but we have opportunity with our business to utilize, things as an asset opposed to liability, but we're not even doing that because we're not getting the right information. And what you're doing is talking about networking with the right people, being connected in the right spaces, going after your goals and the love of what you do. So anything you want to leave us with before we get out of here, Christi, of just the community, how, number one, I want them to know how to connect with you, but any final words of wisdom that you would love them to hear from you?
Yeah. So the one thing I would say that has kept me back from where I could be right now is dreaming too small. So I would say dream bigger. You can have it. It is within you. God has given it to you, and He wants us to have all His riches and all His glories, and all the gifts He has given us is to feed others. And you can feed others, whether it is a actual feeding of food or feeding of knowledge. Once all your needs are taken care of first, then you can feed so many others. So you don't have to lack in order to give to others. Now, some of the people who believe in God have that belief like, well, I shouldn't have, outward goods, but your needs should be taken care of. That allows you to give more to people and use your gifts to people. So dream bigger. Any and all that you can believe can be yours. And you can pretty much find me everywhere at Christi Farmer. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube. It'll come up as different ways, but Christi Farmer is the one way to find me in all things.
I love that. And out of and making an extra $1,000, for yourselves, doing some light work with Christi, I think it's empowering because just being around you was super warm, inviting. It was joyful. And she has a very, directness about her where I feel like you're not going to get the fluff there. So make sure you reach out to her.
Hate it or love it.
I feel it. I feel it. So thank you so much, Christi. It was such a pleasure. And we're going to get out of here, y'all. Let us know how you enjoyed this live, and we'll see y'all later in the WIN Spaces. Bye, y'all.